Fresh off the heels of events such as bodying Jack Harlow on his own song Churchill's Downs, pouring hot sauce in his condom so IG models can't trap him, and being forced to socially distance with Nicki Minaj on stage because she feared he had the kookamongus aka COVID, is Drake's latest offering, honestly, Nevermind. Honestly, half those jokes I just listed happened before the album dropped, but I just wanted to get some jokes off. Sue me. That being said, when Drake's not dropping views, he's dropping content that brings in the views for all these commentary channels, including myself. I mean, that's not the sole purpose of his music. Obviously, it's to enjoy it. But once again, everything I do is to get a joke in. But let's stop talking about your life and get back on the topic of this new project. Honestly, never mind all the people who felt the need to rush out their opinion. It's always to capitalize on the guaranteed viewership Champagne Poppy generates. Me? I listen to an album a bunch before I share my opinion on it, especially when it comes to an artist as large as this one. I have to make sure I get it right the first time. The number of memes and critiques this album generated makes me wonder if y'all even care about the art, or do you just want to get your likes up? And that question was rhetorical, by the way. So objectively speaking, is this album as bad as you all made it out to be? I don't love it, but I also don't hate it. I think the truth is in the middle. I think one of the hardest things about being an artist with a long-lasting career is, like everything else, you become a victim of your own success. What you originally produced is hard to recreate because you're not in the same headspace. When you're successful at this point, you have status, you're financially doing better, and all the women you can handle are throwing themselves at you, so it can make it hard for some people to relate to you, but also internally you could be having a battle. I could use myself as an example. If you're unfamiliar with my content because you just so happen to stumble upon this channel thanks to the algorithm, first hit the sub button and then turn on all notifications. Thank you. Now here's a brief synopsis of my history as a creator. My first YouTube channel was Cornelius08, which was opened in 2007 when I was 17. I grew that channel to 60,000 subscribers. Then I decided I wanted to share my passion with gaming to the world, so I opened my gaming channel, The Black Hokage, in 2012. I grew that channel to 600,000, but then I started focusing more on Twitch. Things started to stall on YouTube, but it was cool because I ended up being picked up as a host on the reboot of the gaming television network G4 TV. The point I'm trying to make to y'all is I've been on a 15-year run, 10 years full-time, even if I don't get a lot of credit for it. It can be hard to find passion to keep going when you've achieved so much over a span of time. The easiest way to circumvent this is to constantly recreate yourself and try new things, but the problem is your current audience might not like it, and then you can end up finding yourself in a vicious cycle of overthinking. On one hand, you want to try to please your core fans, but on the other, you're trying to do new things so you don't lose your mind as a creator. And then you have the element of responsibility. Ladies and gentlemen, bills are a real thing, so you have to keep the money flowing. It can be difficult to strike that balance between pleasing the core fan base and then pleasing your inner creator, as well as fishing for new audiences. People in comment sections of social media who've never created anything in their life will never understand this inner struggle. I have a sneaky suspicion that's where Drake is at right now mentally. People often accuse him of stealing flows and concepts from younger up-and-coming artists, and I think that has to do with him trying to maintain that desire to create by trying new things. I don't think he's trying to rip anybody off, he just wants to try stuff. New experiences bring in new highs and lows. One of my favorite bars from J. Cole is, "Suddenly your old highs become your new lows," and that's real talk. Anyone who's accomplished anything on any level understand this. So I understand why Honestly Nevermind was made. But with all that being said, that was just me giving a deep dive into the mind of a creator so you have a better understanding if you're more of a logical person versus a creative person. Don't get it twisted. I'm still gonna judge this album objectively. Also, take everything I just said with a grain of salt. I might be completely off. Drake might have just wanted to make a house album and it wasn't that deep. And neither is this album. It's only 14 tracks, and anybody who knows me knows I love short albums. 10 to 15 songs is all I need. I am sick of all these albums with 69 songs on them to boost their stream numbers, and of the 14 songs, I liked 7 of them, 2 of which I loved. The 2 standout records are records that happen to go back to back in the forms of Sticky and Massive, and I could be digging too deep here, but the 2 best songs running back to back makes me wonder if this is a reference to his 2015 Meek Mill diss track, "We're going back to back." There's probably no correlation, but I need more watch time on YouTube, so why not say random nonsense like this? Or is it not nonsense? Who knows? What I do know is the production on Sticky is just hard. It was a nice mesh between house type music and hip hop with that beat thumping in the background. First time I heard Sticky, it went straight to the playlist. Massive too. That song is going to be big in Old Navy, The Gap, Forever 21, European clubs, and brunch spots where strong, independent cat ladies who don't need no man frequent. I'm sorry, but the lyrics are catchy and the BPM has a nice pace to it that makes you want to move your feet. And trust me, I would know because I love to jump rope to this song when I'm in the gym. It really energized me, and that's the purpose of the album. It's not supposed to be for street ninjas. It's designed to catch a vibe for a person with a certain lifestyle, and guess what? That's okay. I think a lot of people miss that point because usually Drake makes music for a wider scope of people. It makes it hard for them to appreciate other standout records like Falling Back, Text Go Green, Calling My Name, Jimmy Crooks, and Liability. That thing really hits hard on them late nights when you're in your Ultra Instinct light skin mode about something or someone. I just don't understand how Drake let 21 Savage outshine him on Jimmy Crooks. I guess that was payback for Churchill Downs. Jack Harlow, consider yourself avenged by Britain's top shooter. The other 7 songs on the album are just mid. I don't think it's a bad song on this album, but I think this project would have benefited from trimming the fat. If I could edit this album, I would have packaged it as a 8-song album. Do the 7 songs that I listed, plus the intro to set the tone, and I think honestly Nevermind would have been received much better. The problem with this project is you have to skim through a lot of the BS to get to the good stuff. It's like eating a Hot Pocket when the top is warm, the middle is cold, and then the back is warm. It throws you off and then it can just kind of ruin your mood. For new artists, this might be okay, but Drake's a veteran. Listeners expect a little bit more from him and he has to be aware of this. It's easy to fall into the trap of dropping a long album on streaming services to boost numbers because up front you're gonna eat. You're gonna make a lot of money. I mean, the numbers don't lie. People trash this album, but I'm looking at Spotify and every song has at least 18 million views, with the peak being Jimmy Crooks having over 65 million views at the time of this recording. And that is not even including Apple's numbers and other smaller streaming platforms. Clearly, someone is listening. But let me repeat what I said earlier. Drake is a veteran. Listeners expect more from you and you have to be aware of this. Coasting might bring in the money up front, but in the long run, it's gonna hurt you because fans will become disgruntled and then eventually they'll stop supporting you. And in this what have you done for me now era, you can only ride the high of your previous success so much before people start to say you fell off. And trust me, people love to shout that you fell off. Look no further than my favorite gaming studio, BioWare. They are a great example of this. They produce classic video games such as KOTOR, Jade Empire, and the original Mass Effect trilogy, which is my favorite video game of all time. But it's almost like people don't even remember that. And you know why? Because their last 2 releases were Mass Effect Andromeda and Anthem, which were both total duds. All I'm saying is that people are getting a little impatient with you, Drake. Anybody can fall. Rome dominated for over 1,000 years and eventually they fell too. And in this, it's cool to hate on stuff for attention era that we're in. If it's one thing I know is that people are dying to scream you fell off. So don't give them a reason. But hey, I'm just saying.